Michael, how are you?
I'm good, man. Good to see you again. So I'm super excited to be here today with Fabrice Sergent. Fabrice, the last time that we connected was at a Paradise Fear show, and you came out, and I remember our band was like really excited. We're like, wow, like the CEO of Bandsintown is coming to see Paradise Fears play, and we're a humble independent band, but I mean it was a fun show. It was a sold out crowd of I
Yeah,
don't know like 300-400 cap room, and it was really special connecting there. But for anyone who hasn't met Fabrice or this is the first time connecting, Fabrice is the co-founder and managing partner of the company Bandsintown. And if you're a musician, then you've probably heard of Bandsintown. It's like the number one app in the world for fans to be able to follow and connect with artists in their shows. And they have over 70 million registered music fans, over 550,000 artists on the platform. They reach 250 million monthly unique fans. And they were named as Fast Company's world's most innovative companies. So it's the real deal, and specifically for helping artists to be able to connect with their fans through live experiences. And we had Fabrice on our podcast a couple of years ago, and I
hmm
remember having a great conversation just about the value of live experience, with music. And now more than ever, like the ability for artists to connect with their fans through those live experiences seems like such the root of music itself.
yeah.
So I'm excited to have them back on the podcast today to connect more. And they also have just announced a big new integration with Spotify and some revolutionary new things for live music discovery as well. So Fabrice, thank you so much for taking the time to be back here today.
Michael, I'm so happy to be back here and to be
Mm,
with you today.
mm, awesome. So I mean, maybe we just jump right into it. So I would love to hear from your perspective, maybe to start with, in today's day and age, with digital avenues for artists to be able to release music and social media and connect with their fans. And at the same time, the connection in a lot of ways, like we're more connected than ever, but we're also less connected than ever. And I'd love to hear you just speak about, from your experience, the importance of live music and why, what do you see as the role of live music right now in today's day and age for a musician?
Well, actually, we have actually 85 million registered users, and the reason why I'm saying this is because you might have been reading something that dates back a year before, and so what I'm trying to say is that there's never been so much excitement and demand for live shows and live music,
Mm,
which helped us grow organically with no advertising as usual, and Badminton never advertised, from 70 something to 85 million within a year.
wow.
And so that's it's unprecedented. It's
Mm,
by far the fastest and the most important year we ever experienced. And I think that there's a reason for that. It's because people really felt that live music post pandemic or during the pandemic was essential to their life.
mm,
That it was truly what we were advocating, which was one of the last tribal experience, like a moment of communion when
mm,
you cheer all together in the mosh pit, sharing
mm,
germs
mm,
for the artist and for the talent,
mm.
and where there's no gender, sexual orientation, income inequalities, whatever. We're all here in the mosh pit equal, and being very much human in this moment for the artist and for the music. So this moment of joy is irreplaceable. It's something that became palatable actually to most fans. Of course, artists know that and believe so. You might say that bands in town we live for live music, so that's also pretty natural to us. But
Mm,
for the fans, some of them, a lot of them, are just casual fans. They may not go to shows as often as we think they go.
mm,
So that pandemic, which was so terrible and so difficult as a moment for all of us, turned out to be an awakening for a lot of these fans.
mm. Yeah, it's been super interesting to see what's happened with live music as the pandemic ended, and that pent up demand is just like exploded. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on the future of live music and some of the things that you described around the communal aspect of being together and in that experience. swapping germs, for example, is an interesting way of putting it, but it's so true.
Yeah.
It also seems like we're entering an era of like spatial computing, with the Vision Pro that just got released. And in particular, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on, if you have any predictions on where live music is going, and is there a role or a place for digital live experiences? Is that something you think is going to be happening here in the next couple of years? And how might we best align with that as independent artists to catch that wave?
Yeah, I'm still convinced that virtual and digital will explode at some point and will be complementary to the live experience. There are a lot of people who just can't go to live show. They are too far from the venue. They are potentially, have issues, going physically in person to the venues because they might have anxiety. They may not like the crowd, etc. So, and it is expensive, right? There's no question that those tickets prices increased for good reason, but that's a fact. So having like a personal experience should always be an option. Live streams were big during the pandemic. I think it's played its role, an important one. And then people said, "Oh, it's dead because nobody wants to watch this live stream anymore." When you know technology, you learn how to learn through the weak signal. And what I saw during the pandemic is an incredible appetite and
Mm,
a lot of creative opportunities that were given to the artist to create stuff that in fact may not be even possible in physical lives, which
mm,
means that there's incrementalities there. And so on the fan side, yes, of course, they didn't want to watch live stream at the end of the pandemic, for the reason I
mm,
described actually, but that doesn't mean that this is not going to come back. So, these things keep changing, and I can see indeed through the new headsets, even though they are still very expensive, it's going to take time for them to go down. But yes, through the new headsets, through new experiences, those kind of things become more common and general in the journey of the artist. Like adding a live stream is pretty natural, should be pretty natural as part of a tour. Now, the future of live music is not only that. I think it's also to expand geographically because it's more and more common for artists to tour outside of their original country, internationally, in geographies that it was simply just not possible before. Finding audience and fans through social media. It's
mm.
also important to note that I think this is the time when indie artists are more important than ever, not only because they foster diversity in culture and they also support the entire creativity in this industry, but also because there will be more artists on tour doing more shows, also because there are more venues. So this is also an important trend. The time of indie artists on tour has definitely come much more strongly than it was before, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's definitely a good time to be an indie musician. Good time to be a part of this community together. Awesome. So yeah, I know that you've recently announced a integration with Spotify, and I'd love to hear you share a little bit about the details behind how does that integration work, and as a indie artist, how can they best leverage that?
Yeah, of course. Look, we we have brands that are very compatible. First and foremost, both brands support artist discovery, music discovery, are definitely pro artist in their approach to everything. I would at least I can speak for Bandsintown very very strongly. And so part of our mission, we think we are on a mission to expose and help artists expose and surface their tour dates everywhere. That's what I call the Bandsintown everywhere mission. You publish once, it gets everywhere. And I think that by the end of this year, we have grown or expanded our audience from, let's say, 100 million users to a billion. Integration with Spotify, integration with Apple 2 years ago, and many others, Microsoft, and many platforms that we connect with. So all these platforms, they don't have an artist platform per se that enables to upload tour dates, to update tour dates. We do have that. 600,000 artists created an account on Bandsintown and have full control of their tour dates. They can publish, upload, schedule the publishing of the tour dates, and obviously they can use our tools to promote their tour dates on their site, on their social, and everything. We take care of the rest. We take care of the rest. We will expose them everywhere. So the way it works with Spotify is that if an artist set up a tour date on Bandsintown, it's going to go to the right artist page on Spotify. But in order to do so, artists have to make sure that they, of course, create an account on Bandsintown, but also add their Spotify links to their accounts and as much metadata, we call it metadata, which means bio, genre, everything, so that they increase the chance to match their profile with the right artist profile on these platforms. Because part of what Bandsintown brings to the table for these platforms is a better artist name matching technology. We are artist verified, but we also help sync the right events with the right artist page across these platforms.
Amazing. And for anyone who, I mean, again, if you're a musician, then you've probably heard of Bandsintown, and if you haven't, then you should immediately go download it and get on there and follow all of your favorite bands. But as an artist, I assume that a membership or an account costs, what, $2,000 or $3,000 a month for Bandsintown, or how much does it cost?
Are you kidding me? Is it?
Just kidding. Yeah. So the punchline is that you can sign up as an artist completely for free. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering.
Yeah.
I was wondering if Michael was joking. So yes, exactly. It's free. This is our mission. You can create an account, list your tour dates, have full control, and also use our tools to display such tour dates on your website, on your socials. Doing so, your artist also can collect first-party data. So we believe that in order to build sustainable future, it's important for artists to be able to own their data. So we allow them to message all their fans on Bandsintown, and we allow them to download all their that they help create through the tools they can position on their website or their social media. So there are a lot of benefits, and as I said, we take care of the rest.
That's absolutely amazing. So you actually have the ability to communicate directly with your fans who follow you on Bandsintown as well. And you said you can export like an email list of your followers on Bandsintown?
Yes, you can do that too.
Wow.
It's provided you can do that too, provided you help us acquire them. So in other words, you can export to your other platforms. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about. So, we have a platform called Straight Team that's like a CRM platform for sending
Yeah,
out automated email campaigns or text message campaigns.
sure.
And so I was just curious how it might integrate with Bandsintown, if there's like a way that even maybe on the back end, we could have like an API integration where it syncs up their followers between Bandsintown and
Yeah.
their
So
account.
there is no API integration, but there is definitely each artist can log into its account. And for each follower that they helped acquire, not all the follower, because the follower needs to give permission for that, right? The
Right.
follower needs to authorize the artist to contact them, and they do so when they land on the artist website. They see an opt-in flow that requires them to authorize the artist to contact them. And so, yes, in that case, they can certainly utilize such data on other platforms for sure.
Awesome. Is there any sort of like other direction integration that we could do with our platform where if there's a fan that has purchased a T-shirt from them and we know their contact information and their address, is there a way to like sync that up with Bandsintown?
You can do the opposite. Yes, you can upload contacts on Bandsintown for sure. It's but we are not like a full CRM platform. What we help is to collect first party data from the artist properties and potentially message them. And then if the artist wants to use such data on CRM platforms, they can export them to the platform of their choice.
Awesome. All right, so we do have a live audience that's here today. So speaking
Okay.
of live and the connection element, so I would love to open up the floor to anyone here who would like to connect with Fabrice and has any questions. So If you would like to come on stage, you can raise your hand and ask a question. Otherwise, feel free to put something in the chat as well. If you wanted to ask a question, I'm happy to forward it for you. I see Jared Archaic. Jared's a member of our team. He said, I use Bandsintown for all my tours. Did he say you can download the fan data? Yes, that's what he said. As long as they've opted in to, for
Yeah.
that authorization. Lots of people saying that they love Bandsintown. Yep,
Thank you.
definitely understand that. I see Vaz requested to speak, so we can bring on Vaz. Hey, Vaz, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Hello, Fabrice.
Hello.
Nice hearing you, and thank you for the wonderful, wonderful technology that you've created. And I hope you can work something in with modern musician and to help all of the current musicians be able to utilize your service. I went online while you were talking and perused it. I'm here in Tupelo, Mississippi, and it immediately brought up lots of venues in Oxford, Mississippi, and around close by. So, I mean, it's wonderful, wonderful tool. And I would just want to applaud your efforts. And I wish you the best of all things in your
Wow,
pursuits. And
you made my day. It's so good to hear such feedback. I'll share with the team for sure. It's so important for us to get good and also sometimes challenging feedback to improve. But we like to co-build. We like to do stuff with the actual player, and hopefully we do it well.
Awesome.
well, you're doing it well. It looks like, and I wish you the best of all things in life. By the way, where are you from originally? France?
Yeah, I'm French originally. I've been in the US for
Well,
20 years, but I can't hide it.
well, once again, thank you, Michael.
Thanks,
Thank
Vaz.
you. Thank you for
That's
coming.
nice. That's nice when you have someone come on stage and just share
Yeah.
appreciation, and well deserved. Yeah, I mean, you've completely changed the world for so many musicians. So
Wow.
it is
I'm gonna
even
quote you on that. Such an expert saying this, that means a lot, you know.
extremely humble as
And
well.
an artist on top of that.
Thanks. Cool. So I see a question here from Terciopello. I mean, I was actually a little bit curious about this as well in terms of just Bandsintown as a structure.
Mhm.
So Terciopello asked, how does Bandsintown make money as a business? If it's not
Oh,
through charging artists for subscription.
yeah. We sell campaigns and advertising to brands and to event organizers. So
Hmm.
precisely to give you an example, we launched a new offer actually to venues, which now can subscribe to a monthly subscription, and they what we offer them is marketing automation for all of their shows.
Hmm.
They get a full dashboard control over their venue page. They can choose their hero image. They can delete shows themselves, and they get a marketing system that touches 5 times during the life cycle of a show: time of on sale, pre-sale on sale, a month before, a week before, and also they communicate with RSVP. So this with news and reminders to buy the tickets for every single show of the venue. So that's an
Hmm.
example of a subscription we sell to venues. We sell campaigns, a la carte advertising campaigns to promoters, mostly email as well, but also banners and more classic advertising. So that's how we make money. We're not a ticketing company. We're not doing ticketing. We only feature primary ticketing companies. So that's our way also to be respectful of the artist. And we consider that we contribute value to the artist, and we are in a partnership with the artist. And the way we benefit from this partnership is also because the artists typically recommend bands in town. And there's a reason why bands in town is such a love brand among fans and artists. It's because artists actually have been the most incredible supporter of bands in town for the last 10 years. Again, we went from 0 to 85 million registered users without paying a single dime of advertising. So that tells a lot about the story and the
Hmm.
partnership we have with the artist
Hmm.
in general.
That's incredible. Yeah. So I mean, it sounds like a total win-win all around. So essentially, venues can get people out to the shows, and so that's a big win
Yeah,
for the
venues,
artists as well.
promoter. So there
Hmm.
are a lot of brands who wants to communicate with music fans because they are engaged, they are passionate. So So we chose this advertising based business model, and I think that it makes sense in the overall ecosystem to offer and build new advertising opportunities for these players, because just to tell you something, there are 50% more shows in 2024 than it was the case in 2022. So it tells you how competitive this market is.
Wow.
When I say it's a great time to be on tour, it's good. It's the time of the indie artist, yes, but there are a lot of competition. So at the end of the day, we also benefit from that side by selling ads and feature placements.
Got it. Totally makes sense. So, I mean, that actually brings up a good question as well. I think it would be valuable for our community would be to get your perspective on in the current landscape when there are more shows than ever, and there's also more demand than ever because for good reason.
Yeah.
Have you seen anything in particular that's like creative ways that artists are using in-person experiences, or someone that's looking to kind of distinguish themselves and they want to do shows, but they want to do something that's special or something that cuts through the noise? Have you seen any interesting examples of shows that someone's doing right now, and how could an indie artist brainstorm and strategize how they can do something special for their fans related to their live shows?
It's hard to understand this question. I see artists doing systematic meet and greets before the show outside of the venue, for example. I see others that will try to message the fans right before the show about a special merch opportunity that's only going to be available at the venue, but that would be a total surprise and for real, like something that has value for this artist. You, each initiative is also, I think it's impactful if it matches the profile of the artist, and if there's an alignment between who the artist is, the brand, and the initiative, if it feels authentic and genuine. So if, let's say, you ask all your RSVPs, on Bandsintown you can message for free people RSVPing to the show, which I think it's an incredible feature, frankly. You may message them and say, hey, come all dressed in white. If you're like a rock band that is always dressed in black and whatever, I mean, the point is you have to make it symbiotic with what you want to create as an experience, right? So as long as it's authentic and genuine, then the impact can be really, really significant.
Awesome. Yeah. So it sounds like the base principle that's always been there is about connecting with your fans and doing things that are special, that help you to interact with them. And so it's the specifics of it are going to look different based on who you are and your unique artist identity. But if you lean into some of those things that you're passionate about, that your fans are passionate about, and use a platform like Bandsintown to communicate with them, then you can actually you can do things that are creative through that communication channel and do something special or unique, or something that sort of creates like an in crowd, or creates like an insider club for people who actually attend the live show.
I was at this festival in Miami recently, which was organized by the Swiss Montreux Jazz Festival, and they had an edition in Miami. John Batiste saw Will Smith in the crowd, and he jumped off stage and started to walk with his flute in the crowd with his musicians toward him, and gave him a mic and started like almost a jam real time like that, totally unexpected, unscripted. That was kind of mind blowing, because he took the initiative. Obviously, in such a setup, it's quite exceptional, but that was very organic. It didn't feel scripted, right? It was not scripted, and so fans went crazy, right? They felt the connection. If you had like a barometer of artist to fan connection during that evening, at that moment of time, it peaked because they felt close to him. They could literally dance around this encounter, and that's magic, right? And I don't know, it's not a given. You may not be able to do that all the time, of course. And that's not, but that's,
Bring my keyboard out to like on into the crowd. Maybe if I
yeah,
had a guitar. There we go.
but that's, that's why each situation is different. But having in mind that fans connection is key, and it's also, it feels so good anyway. It's not dangerous. It's just great. So
Yeah.
you might be find a creativity to engage in a way that is very unique and special to your own band.
Super interesting. Yeah, the what that reminded me of was one of the one of the little bits that we did when we were touring full time, and this just like was always a special experience. But it was also like a very small thing, but it just made a big
Yeah.
impact. Was we had one of our songs where there's a section of the song that has some like O's in it, so it's like oh, and we did like a bit of a crowd participation thing where like they were singing the O's, we were singing the O's, but then without them realizing it, we held up the microphone to one of them, and I clicked record on one of their voices. It was like oh, and then we basically sampled it and we played the O's back, and we did things with
Love
like the
that.
instrumentation,
Yeah.
and that was something that was like relatively straightforward to do, but it made a
Yeah.
huge impact in terms of that was like a
Yeah.
highlight of the show. And I think it comes back to the root of what you're describing there around just like fan connection and interaction and creating those moments of strong connection.
Yeah. Also, fans don't understand that the concert is very, very scripted. They don't perceive this, and that's good. They don't understand that every song is prepared, rehearsed, and the dancing, the singing, everything is so for rightfully prepared. But they feel intuitively when it goes off the grid. They feel that something special is happening when it's not completely scripted. So that what it's hard because you can't do that every night. That it becomes part of the show. But you definitely having this freedom. I think it's important. Keeping this freedom is important.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, what comes to mind is I've seen some like viral comedians blowing up that do interactive things with the audience where they'll do bits where they'll literally just like go back and forth with one of the members in the audience. And it seems like, there's in some of those cases they're entertaining because you don't know what's going to happen, and it could
Yeah,
be it could be crazy, but there is like a level of there's a framework around it though at the same time. So it's not like you're going to do something that you've never done before, but it's still like you can kind of archetype it and use it as a connection opportunity.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, a little bit like when we do these podcasts and we have our live guests come on and ask a question. You never know. You never know.
Yeah,
Vaz
that's good.
might say something. Might say something really mean about Bandsintown. I'm sure he wouldn't.
That's fine. That's
But
fine. Just bring it on. We can. Again, when people, I guess, to be artists know how difficult it is to deliver a perfect show, and I admire them for that because that's almost like a necessary condition for success, right? You feel that if you fail in delivering the show, people will notice and will understand, and so they will not be very, very tolerant. So they know the difficulty. When we build the platform, we're not artists, but it's the same thing. It's super difficult to do everything well and perfectly and for benefits and address all stakeholders. Being an entrepreneur is hard, but having that mindset that you're serving a purpose that's so important, that is so critical, like live music and artist expression, it fuels the entire company. But it's a challenge. I don't think we do everything well. We fuck up things, obviously. However, if people understand and give us at least benefits of the doubt and try to help us and share feedback is a gift. We take them very seriously and we try to address them. So, yeah.
well, I appreciate that. And I mean, it's very clear just in the way that you show up and what you've built, like the heart that you have for musicians and the service that you've built. So I'm personally very grateful for you and Bandsintown, and I know our whole community is in the chat right now saying thank you, Trisha Pilza. Thank you for your service, Fabrice. You're a humanitarian in the truest sense. Everyone loves your creation. Grateful for these podcasts. Very special service. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty awesome for me to be able to like have this experience where I get to connect with people like Fabrice and see the patterns behind some of the most successful people that I've met in this industry. And it seems like all of them are like you, Fabrice, in that what drives them is generally a sense of service, a sense of wanting to contribute and provide value. And also they're very ambitious and driven, but they're humble and they're open and willing to receive feedback, but it's all done, for the greater service of their purpose and their mission. And they have clarity around that. So yeah, I just wanted to say once again, thank you, Fabrice, for coming on here live to share, some of the updates in terms of what you're building with Bandsintown. And congratulations on the past year. I mean, obviously there's a huge need for live music overall. There's always been, but in particular right now, because of the pandemic and whatnot, I think it's more important than ever for us to connect as humans. So thanks for being a part of that.
But thanks for having us. I mean, thanks for your kind words. I'm not a one-man band. I have a big band behind me together as a team. That's what makes it so exciting, and that hopefully what makes it so successful, that they all share the same vision and the same purpose and the same ambition. So yeah, thank you for your kind words and support. Appreciate it.
Awesome. So real quick, for anyone that hasn't done this yet, throughout the conversation, or if you haven't signed up for a Bandsintown account, what's the best place for people to go to sign up for a free account?
Yeah, go to artist.bandsintown.com, artist.bandsintown.com. That's where you claim your account. And there's an artist verification process, but that's where you claim your account. And yes, I encourage you to do it, of course.
Fantastic. All right. Well, let's do a virtual round of applause for Fabrice for being here live. We'll wrap up. Yeah!
Thank you.
And